You don't remember the last night you slept without seeing it. The alley is always the same. Narrow, suffocating, smelling of rain and garbage. The city's heartbeat distant and uncaring. Your father's hand slips from yours first. Your mother's pearls fall in slow motion, striking the pavement like tiny echoes of a life that ended in a single second. People say time heals trauma, but they're wrong. Time preserves it. It sharpens it into something precise, something permanent, something that wakes up with you every night just before the sun disappears. That was the moment you stopped being a child. Not when the gun fired, not when the bodies hit the ground, but when you realized the world would not stop, would not mourn with you, would not care that everything you were supposed to become had just been erased. You grew up in a mansion that felt less like a home and more like a mausoleum built for people who were still breathing. Endless hallways, silent dining rooms, portraits staring down like witnesses who refused to speak. Alfred tried to fill the emptiness with routine, with discipline, with quiet kindness. But grief is a louder teacher than any guardian could ever be. At school, they called you distant. At galas, they called you composed. No one understood that you were already studying them, already learning how fragile people really were, how easily the illusion of safety collapses. You stopped asking why it happened. Instead, you started asking how to make sure it never happened again, to anyone. That question became the center of your life, the gravity that pulled every decision into its orbit. Other children dreamed about becoming astronauts or athletes or heroes from comic books. You didn't dream. You planned. You trained your body long before it was ready, forcing it to adapt to a future it didn't yet understand. Every bruise was a lesson. Every failure was information. You studied fighting styles from around the world, not because you wanted to win battles, but because you never wanted to feel powerless again. You learned how criminals think, how fear spreads, how chaos grows when no one stands in its way. The truth settled in slowly, but permanently. The world doesn't need another good man. It needs something that makes bad men hesitate. Something that turns the darkness back on itself. By the time you returned to Gotham, the city had rotted further than you imagined. Corruption wasn't hidden. It was structural, built into the foundations like rust in steel. Police who were tired, politicians who were owned. Streets that belonged to whoever was willing to be cruel enough to claim them. You walked through it unnoticed. Just another wealthy orphan back from disappearing for years. But inside, you were no longer Bruce Wayne. That name belonged to a life that ended in an alley. What remained was a mission looking for a form. And then, one night, as you stood above the city watching its lights flicker like dying stars, you understood what that form had to be. Criminals weren't afraid of prisons. They weren't afraid of death. They were afraid of the unknown, of shadows that moved with intention, of something that could be anywhere at any time. So you chose the only weapon that would work. You chose to become the fear. Not a hero, not a savior, not a symbol of hope, a warning. And the night, for the first time since that alley, finally felt like it belonged to you. The first night you go out, the city doesn't tremble. It doesn't even notice. Rain falls in thin, cold lines, turning every rooftop into glass, every streetlight into a blurred halo. From above, Gotham looks almost peaceful, like a lie told well enough that people started believing it. You stand on the edge of a building, cape heavy with water, listening. Sirens far away, a train rattling through old steel tracks. Somewhere below, a man shouting, then silence. Your heart isn't racing. It's steady, controlled, trained into obedience. Fear is there, but it's different now. Not the fear of a child in an alley, but the sharp awareness of someone stepping into a war that never officially began. You drop without warning. The fall lasts only seconds, but in that space, your mind becomes perfectly clear. No hesitation, no doubt, just movement. Your boots hit the fire escape without a sound, and you descend into the narrow corridor between buildings where the light barely reaches. 3 men are there, their laughter low and confident, the kind of sound people make when they believe nothing can touch them. They don't see you at first. Criminals never look up. They're too busy watching for other criminals. When one of them finally notices the shape separating itself from the darkness, confusion hits before fear. That's the moment you exploit, the instant when their brains can't categorize what they're seeing. The fight is brutal and fast, nothing like the clean choreography people imagine. Pain is immediate, real, unavoidable. A blade grazes your ribs. A fist connects with your jaw hard enough to make your vision flicker white. But training takes over where instinct would fail. You move through them, not with rage, but with precision, every motion calculated to end the confrontation as quickly as possible. Bones crack. Breath leaves lungs in violent bursts. The last man tries to run, slipping on the wet pavement, scrambling like prey that suddenly understands it was never the predator. You don't chase him. You don't need to. Terror does the work for you. He disappears into the night carrying a story that will spread faster than any rumor. A story about something that hunts criminals in the dark. When it's over, the silence returns, thicker than before. Your hands shake, not from fear, but from adrenaline burning through your system with nowhere to go. This wasn't victory. It wasn't justice. It was proof of concept. You lean against the cold brick wall, breathing slowly, forcing your body back under control. Blood mixes with rain and disappears into the city's endless filth. For a moment, you wonder if this is what your parents would see if they were alive. Not a son, not a man, but a creature shaped by loss and obsession. The thought passes. It has to. Doubt is a luxury you buried years ago. Above you, a spotlight suddenly ignites, cutting through the clouds and painting a symbol across the sky. You stare at it, confused at first, then understanding settles in like a weight. The city has answered. Whether out of desperation or faith, someone has decided to call for you. Not Bruce Wayne, not the orphan from Crime Alley, something else. Something that doesn't belong to daylight or normal life or peace. As the light reflects in your eyes, you realize this is no longer a mission you control alone. Gotham has started depending on you, and dependence is dangerous. It means if you fail, the fall won't be yours alone. You step back into the shadows, cape swallowing the outline of your body until you're nothing but a distortion in the darkness. The pain, the exhaustion, the doubt, all of it becomes background noise compared to the single, undeniable truth forming in your mind. This is only the beginning, because now the city knows there is something in the night, and it's coming for them. At first, you think fear will be enough. It works on thieves, on gangs, on the kind of men who break when they realize they're no longer the worst thing in the room. Crime drops. Whispers spread. The city starts sleeping a little easier. For a brief, dangerous moment, you almost believe the war can be won. Then the bodies appear, not hidden, not dumped in alleys, displayed, left in places where they will be found quickly, posed like messages written in a language only you are meant to understand. No robbery, no clear motive, just chaos carved into human lives. Whoever is behind it isn't afraid of you. Worse, they want your attention. The first time you see him, it doesn't feel like a confrontation. It feels like stepping into a trap you didn't realize had been set for months. An abandoned building, lights flickering, the air thick with the smell of gasoline and something metallic underneath. You move carefully, every sense stretched thin, knowing instinctively that this is different from anything you've faced before. Then the laughter starts. Not loud, not theatrical, but quiet and genuine, like someone amused by a private joke. He steps into view slowly, hands visible, posture relaxed, eyes locked onto yours with unsettling curiosity. There's no fear in them, no hesitation, no survival instinct telling him to run. It's like looking at a man who has already stepped beyond consequences. He talks as if you're old friends meeting after a long time apart. Says he was wondering how long it would take for you to find him. Says the city was getting boring before you arrived. Every word is designed to pull you off balance, to drag the fight onto terrain where strength and training mean nothing. When he moves, it's sudden and reckless, forcing you to react instead of control. The explosion that follows isn't meant to kill you. You realize that too late. It's meant to prove a point. Fire floods the room, heat punching the air out of your lungs as the floor collapses beneath you. You escape by instinct, by reflex, by the part of you that refuses to die even when logic says you should. Outside, coughing smoke into the cold night air, you understand something that chills you more than the explosion ever could. This enemy doesn't want to defeat you. He wants to unravel you. He wants to show the city that your rules, your restraint, your belief that you can control the darkness are just another fragile illusion. And the worst part is, he might be right. Because for the first time since you put on the mask, you feel it. Not fear of death, but fear of failure. Fear that no matter how strong you become, there will always be someone willing to fall further than you're willing to follow. As distant sirens grow louder, you disappear before anyone can see you, grappling into the night with movements that feel heavier than before. Pain radiates through your body, but it's nothing compared to the realization settling into your mind. This war isn't about stopping crime anymore. It's about surviving an enemy who sees the world as a joke, and you as the punchline. Standing on a rooftop overlooking the burning skeleton of the building, you watch the flames claw at the sky and understand that the mission has changed forever. Because now there is someone in Gotham who isn't afraid of the dark, someone who feels at home in it. And for the first time, you're not sure the night belongs to you anymore. It ends where everything in Gotham always ends, on the edge of a fall. The rooftop is slick with rain, the city below glowing in fractured reflections, sirens echoing between buildings like a warning no one can escape. He stands across from you, smiling as if the chaos around him is a masterpiece he finally gets to admire up close. Bruised knuckles, cracked armor, blood running warm under the suit, hidden but undeniable. You're both exhausted, both pushed past whatever limits normal men would have collapsed under hours ago. This was never just a fight. It was a collision between two ideas that cannot exist without destroying each other. He tells you to do it. Says the city would be safer if you stopped pretending you're different from the people you hunt. Says one push is all it takes to prove that underneath the symbol, underneath the rules, you're just another man who broke. His words dig deeper than the blows ever could because part of you knows how close he is to the truth. You think about the alley, about the child staring at the bodies of his parents, about the promise you made without fully understanding what it would cost. Killing him would be easy. Ending the nightmare would take less than a second. For the first time, the option feels real. Not theoretical, not distant, but right there in your hands. Your grip tightens. The rain runs down your cowl into your eyes, tasting like rust and asphalt. For a heartbeat, the entire city seems to hold its breath with you. If you cross that line, there is no returning. No more rules. No more difference between you and the monsters you drag into the light. You realize then that this was always his plan. Not to destroy Gotham, not even to kill you, but to make you destroy yourself. Because if the symbol falls, the fear disappears, and the darkness wins without another fight. So you let go. Not because he deserves mercy, not because justice demands it, because the child in that alley needed someone who wouldn't become what took everything from him. You step back, every muscle screaming, every instinct raging against the decision, and you choose the harder path, the one that never ends, the one that guarantees you will fight this war again tomorrow and the day after and for as long as your body allows you to stand. He laughs, even as the police lights flood the rooftop, even as the moment slips out of his control, because in his mind, the game never really ends. Maybe he's right. Maybe this is a loop neither of you can escape. When they arrive, you're already gone. From a distant gargoyle overlooking the scene, you watch them take him away, watch the city exhale in relief that will only last until the next crisis, the next night, the next scream echoing through the streets. Dawn is starting to bleed into the sky, turning black into deep blue, revealing how tired you really are. This is the part no one sees. The silence after the battle, the weight of knowing you didn't fix anything, you only delayed the inevitable. But as the first light touches the skyline, something else settles in too. Not peace, not happiness, purpose. Bruce Wayne is the mask. Batman is what's real. You are the reason criminals look over their shoulders. the reason parents hold their children a little tighter when the sun goes down. Not a hero carved in statues or celebrated in daylight, but a shadow that refuses to let the darkness have everything. You don't get endings. You don't get closure. You get the mission over and over, night after night, because the moment you stop is the moment Gotham falls back into the abyss that created you. The signal fades from the sky as the sun rises, but you know it will return. It always does, and when it does, you'll be there. Because you're not the man who lost his parents in an alley. You're the thing that alley created. You are Batman.